Our next guest is Laure le Corroller. She was born in France and comes from a family of doctors. She has a master's degree in science of finance and in international management from Harvard University. She comes from a successful career on the trading floor of a global bank in England before becoming a certified master teacher and practitioner trained by Master Sha and the Tao Academy. Laure is the leading teacher for French-speaking communities. Welcome and thank you so much for being on the Master Sha Show today.
Thank you.
We are so honored to have you here with us, and it really is such a joy to learn about your journey with Master Sha, because it has been a journey, and now you are one of his leading teachers worldwide. We would like to start in the beginning of your journey, though, and learn how you met Master Sha. How did your journey with Master Sha begin?
Thank you, and thank you for having me. And yes, I'll be happy to share with you. I met Master Sha. So as you shared, I was working in the banking industry, in investment banking and in a trading unit. And I was a VP. I was having a lot of responsibilities and I was traveling a lot. And at the age of 35, around 35, I started to develop chronic back pain. Because as many of you know, trading is the second most stressful job in the world after air traffic controller. It's very hard on the body, it's very hard on the heart, and it's very demanding. So at around 35, I started to have signs of really chronic back pain. I needed to have treatment every week. And also I was starting to be tired, fatigued, which was very unusual, and I had everything, At the physical level, it looked like, I should be happy, I should feel fulfilled. I had a great career, I had beautiful friends, I was traveling a lot, I had money, I had a partner. Life was easy, but I felt empty inside. I felt there is something missing. And it's through my back pain that I met Dr. and Master Zhigong Sha. At that time, I had, as I said, treatment every week. And one time I met an osteopath who was just coming back from a retreat with Dr. Master Zhigong Sha in Hawaii. And she was excited, and she was telling me he was using a revolutionary system based on soul power. And she used his technique on me for my back. And I felt a huge release of the pain. And I wanted to know more. And so that was in 2008. And I decided to attend an event with Master Sha. And the first event attended was in the Omega Institute in the state of New York. And what I saw on that day will stay printed in my heart forever, in the sense that what I saw Master Sha do for people who were suffering, in their physical body, mental body, emotional body, relationships, lots of issues. It was amazing. And I wanted to know more. I started to follow his trainings, and one thing led to another, and I became myself, a teacher and healer.
Wow. Do you remember in that retreat in the Omega Institute, like a specific story or a specific moment where you witnessed something or experienced something and just had that spark of knowing, like this is something special?
Yes, thank you. Master Sha was talking about the soul, and he was saying our soul is carrying a lot of information that we have accumulated over our journey. And he was sharing that positive information was making us feel happy, healthy, cheerful, at the right place, and negative information could be heavy on us and could lead to sickness. And he was asking people in the room, why you're here, and what kind of pain do you have? How can I help you? And I saw people with very, very serious conditions, much more serious than mine. There were people who had cancer, quite advanced. There were people who had very, very severe illnesses, went through multiple surgeries, had a high dose of morphines, and he was helping them. I could see the before and the after, their face, like before tense because of the pain and release, and we could see it. It was very visual. Master Sha was also sharing something that really touched my heart. He was saying, the soul is the boss. And for me at that moment, that's what I needed to know. If our soul is happy, we are happy. If our soul feels incomplete, not in the right place, we are feeling unfulfilled. And I wanted to know more. I said, okay, that's why. That's what I needed. You know, at the physical level, why I'm not feeling fulfilled, but because my soul is not happy. So what does my soul want to do? And that's how I had a realization in this Omega Institute. And that's really, really what led me to want to know more about Master Sha and learn what he's teaching.
So you mentioned that you had a very successful career in trading, which is very extraordinary. This is a very unique career, something that takes a lot of courage, a lot of stamina, a lot of vitality to be able to even just be in that room. But what was the turning point for you where you decided, I'm going to choose a different path. I am going to do something different in my life?
I had a beautiful life on paper, but inside I was feeling I'm missing something. And gradually this voice, my little voice, my inner voice inside, which later I learned is my soul, became louder and louder. And I started to have thought about, this is not me, or I don't want to do this anymore. But I was suppressing this, saying, come on, Laure, come on, remember, this is a high profile career, you're already VP, you're not even 40, yada, yada, yada. So for me, I started to experience a struggle inside where I felt, no, I should be silly to drop this, but at the same time, I don't want to do it anymore. I was not feeling any joy anymore. And I think eventually that little voice started to be louder and louder until I had the pain. And when I had the pain, the chronic pain in my body, especially in my lower back, in the kidney area, which is where in the lumbar, where the stress is coming when we are stressed, and most of us in our 30s, I felt like, wow, suddenly I could not do any sports. My life had to stop in terms of what I really enjoy doing. I used to windsurf, I used to snowboard, I used to play polo. I was very active, and suddenly no more, because my back could not take it. So when my chiropractor, and I saw many, and I was having treatment every week, when I saw her and I had the chance to meet her, I was traveling and I saw her in one of my travel. She came from Master Sha's training. She's the one who said, your soul wants you to change something about your career. She said, you're so tense and you're so young. How can you be like so tense? And I thought, okay, she's right. It's time. I have to think about it now. I have to take some action. So it's literally the pain in my body that made me revise, review, reassess. Am I doing the right thing? And that's when I met Master Sha, and then the rest is history, in the sense that I realized, okay, my soul is not happy. Then I had to find out, what does my soul want to do? And then, I recall deep in down, when I was young, I had a dream to become a doctor, like my parents. And it's funny, because they're all doctors in my family, both sides, parents, grandparents, everyone, uncle, aunties. That's how it is. So I thought I will be a doctor too. But because I was good in math and I ended up good in science, it's as if I let them take me this way. But my dream was to go in medical school. And so for me, it's when, my soul wanted to heal others. My soul wanted to help those who were suffering. My soul had no interest for numbers. I had no interest for making revenue and meet KPIs and performance targets. She wanted to help others. She wanted to heal. And I had to find a way to help my soul do that. And at the time, Master Sha was offering the Tao Hands in 2008. It was called Divine Healing Hands at the time. I jumped on it. And I was so excited, and I couldn't have enough of it. I went to Frankfurt in Germany to get it. And then my soul, I felt like, this is it. And that's when my soul, the pain started to go down, following the technique of Master Sha.
Many of us have something in our life that our soul is calling us to do, something in our heart, that whisper that you described with the voice of our soul that's saying, hey, this thing, or call this person, or do this thing. And so your story is also an inspiration for us to listen to that voice. And you mentioned your journey, with Master Sha's Tao technologies, and we would like to know how Master Sha's Tao transformative technology has changed your life.
So Master Sha created many different ways for us, all humanity, to receive the benefits of his technologies. And one of the ways he created in 2013 was Tao calligraphy. And that same year, he actually wrote the book Soul Healing Miracles. And in that year, I started to experience difficulties with my heart. And that was a consequence of my stress at work. Because when you are a trader, every year they do a stress test on us. They make you run on a treadmill, they check your cardiovascular system, and you need to have a certain score to be kept at the job. And so I was passing every year, no questions asked. But after like 35, 36, I was starting to show signs of, again, fatigue. But it was more than my emotional and my not feeling fulfilled. My heart showed sign of, fatigue. And Master Sha used Tao calligraphy power to heal my heart many times. I had symptoms of heart failure many times, and I could feel like exactly what it's being described as the numbness, in the four extremities. You feel the numbness, then you cannot speak, you feeling your essence of life is leaving your body. I went through this a few times, and each time Dr. Master Zhigang Sha, with the power of Tao calligraphy, totally transformed the situation for me. And I felt that Qi come back, that life come back in my body. So for me, I know it's real. And this is one of the ways I've experienced in my own flesh. I've also seen Master Sha working for my father. In 2014, when my father had a stroke, it was 8 o'clock in the morning, and my mom called me and she said, "Your dad just got a stroke and the ambulance is on its way, but from the symptoms, it seems too late to do anything." And he knew it, and she knew it, because they're both doctors, right? So he had his right side paralyzed, he couldn't speak, and he knew okay, I'm not gonna recuperate this, it's gone, right? So he was conscious, but it was very severe. My mom said, "Can you do anything?" And that was for me wow, that was ultimate sign of trust of my mother for Master Sha's technique. And I connected with Dr. Master Sha. You right away offered a blessing for my father. Dr. Sha was in an airport at the time. He was commuting between one event to another. And again, he's so beyond compassionate and generous of his time. He took time to pick up the phone and he said, "Okay, close your eyes. I will transmit a blessing to your father." And he wrote a calligraphy. He wrote a calligraphy with what he had in front of him, piece of paper. He wrote a message. Connected with his Tao channel, he wrote a message. And by that time, the ambulance arrived in my parents' house, and they started to look at him. And they said, like my mom said, "Yes, it looks like it's very, very critical. We're going to see if he's going to make it to the hospital." And they were not sure of what will happen. And so Master Sha, at the same time, had written calligraphy, and I was tracing the calligraphy with him. He was tracing on his phone, I was tracing on my phone. The ambulance arrived in the hospital, they did x-rays, and they saw the hemorrhage, that had started to go in the whole brain, stopped. And they don't know why. And because usually stroke, the hemorrhage doesn't stop. You need surgery to stop an hemorrhage. It's very rare why an hemorrhage will stop. So they thought, first of all, they said, well, good news is hemorrhage stopped. We don't know why, but as soon as he arrived in the hospital, between the moment he left the house and the moment he arrived in the hospital and they checked him and they scanned, hemorrhage stopped, which was exactly when Master Sha transmitted the blessing with the Tao calligraphy. Then they said, the other good news is it's lucky hemorrhage stopped, because where the stroke happened, where the blood vessel broke, it's too deep in the brain. He cannot have a surgery there. This is not an area of the brain where a human being can have a surgery. It's too risky. So they don't touch that. It's impossible to touch that. So there was nothing they could have done. If the hemorrhage would have continued, they would have watched him pass because they cannot have surgery, cannot do anything. I remember I went to see my dad and I printed the calligraphy and I put it on the hospital next to his bed. And he knew he was saved because of Master Shah. Wow. He knew. His eyes, he was like, he knew. And that really touched my heart, very, very deep. And this blessing gave my father 8 more years to live. He was very disciplined to do the rehabilitation, but all the progress he was making was immense. And I was tracing, my husband was tracing for him, my mom was tracing for him, and he had always the calligraphy with him next to his bed or on his body, and he recovered so fast. In 6 months, they said at 70 plus, it should have taken him at least 2 years. Wow. In 6 months, he was out of the hospital. He was able to walk again, to speak again, to talk, to shower, like everything. We have to realize when somebody has a stroke at that degree, everything's gone. The person cannot even walk, cannot talk. And because the right side had been paralyzed, he cannot feel the floor on the right side. It was called a miracle in the hospital because the hemorrhage stopped. And then my father went to a rehabilitation center to learn how to speak again, how to walk, how to function in life. And he was a star. Like they could not understand how the 70 plus could do better than the 40 plus who were there. And he was like, in 3 months, he was back at 90% on his feet, working at the computer, speaking, taking care of himself. That was unheard of. So I know Master Shah's techniques are working, that if you really follow the protocol and the technique, you're really back on your feet. Of course, we cannot promise any result and, we cannot save everyone. But I was lucky, and I've seen many, many people who have been as lucky as I've been. And also now being trained as a teacher and a healer, I'm helping people I will never have been able to help before.
Absolutely. And just hearing you share this story, I am covered in chills, which is like this resonation of just truth and the power of what you're sharing. And also, we want to share, like, we do not diagnose or replace any medical service. We always encourage you to see your medical doctors and professionals. And yet it does complement Western medicine.
Master Shah is a doctor. He's a doctor in modern medicine, conventional medicine in China, and a TCM doctor, traditional Chinese medicine doctor in China and Canada. So he knows medicine very well. He knows the matter, he knows the energy very well. He's very accomplished. He's also a Dao Grandmaster. And that's very unique to have a profile so complete who knows the matter, like our modern doctors, who know the Qi, like a TCM doctor, and who knows the soul, like a Dao Master and a Dao Grandmaster. And this combination makes him very, very unique. So when he created the Dao calligraphy, because he's a Dao Grandmaster, he's able to channel the Dao, the source, Shen Qi Jing, soul, heart, mind, body, energy, matter. He's able to bring it to the calligraphy. That is very unique. He's able to bring in the light, the love, the high frequency vibrations from the Dao source. After receiving the blessing from the Dao calligraphy, I felt like there is a switch, there is a change in the way I see life, because I now carry this information very high, very positive in my heart. So it's a huge, huge opportunity for all of us to upload, in a way, all this positive information, energy, matter, melt with it, merge with it, and enjoy the benefits of it. And if I may share, I have an example to give you. For example, I met this man. He had chronic back pain for 20 years. He was on morphine every day. And his back pain was following a big incident at work. He had 3 surgeries. And because of the doses of morphine he was taking, he could not drive, he could not work, he was stuck at home, and he was depressed because he was always knocked down by the medication. And I followed the technique of Master Shah. I used Dao calligraphy, and I traced for him 20 days. And his pain is gone, and it never returned. But he believed, he trusted, okay, I want to try this. There's nothing else I can try. And now he's back. He's back, he has a job, he's stopped the morphine. It's like his life is back. And this is just an example among many. And again, like you said, we cannot make any promises or claim anything. We're just sharing what we observed from basically following Dr. and Master Zhigong Sha Dao transformative technologies, such as Dao calligraphy, Dao song, Dao water, and also Dao hands, and many others he has created in his life.
That is extraordinary. I cannot imagine what it would be like to be on morphine every single day. It really is like having a whole new life. And so thank you so much for sharing that with us. And how has it been for you, like coming from a family of doctors, like so many people in your family?
Yes.
And also you shared about your father's condition transforming. So
Yes.
how has it been for you and your family for you to take on this new role? Yeah, what has that been like?
Thank you for asking. It's a very good question. At first, my parents were happy because they said, oh, finally, she's going to balance her life and she's going to be less stressed with work and she's going to be happy doing something else. But then they were challenged because like you said, they were coming from more like a conventional medical doctor background. My mother is very open-minded. My mom said, if you tell me you feel there is something there, Laure, I trust you. I don't understand it fully, but I trust your judgment and I trust you. My dad was like, no, this cannot be. If it will work, we will know already. But what is interesting about my dad is that when I got my Dao hands, and he had, at that time, he was in his 40s, and unfortunately, he fell from a big ladder, helping a neighbor fixing his roof. He fell and he broke his ankle in many places and he had surgery. He was in bed for 6 months. So he kept pain in that ankle for the rest of his life. So occasionally he needed help with that pain. And many times I was coming to him, said, Dad, remember, I have my Dao hands. And he would say, no, I don't believe in it. And my mom was telling me, continue, you gotta go through, continue. Your father one day is gonna say yes. And one day he could not take it anymore. The medication was not working anymore. And he was a doctor. He said, I cannot increase. If I increase, it has a cost, right? Yeah. So I said, but Dad, you're so stubborn. Let me try to help. You have nothing to lose. I used my Dao hands on him. And then his face, like, when somebody is in pain, the face is contracted, crisp, like tense, and then his jaw relaxed. And he was speechless. He said, what did you do? I said, I just used my Dao hands, like silent chanting, following the technique. And he said, okay. And then he had a tear. Wow. And I never had seen my father cry in my whole life. But that tear was it was a thank you. From that moment on, if the pain will come back in his ankle occasionally based on the weather or what, or, he had a rheumatism there because it was so severe, the surgery had been very serious and complicated, then I will use my Dao hands and every time the pain will go away. And so he believed. So, what I take with me is like, it's really through experience that we can believe. So I will really encourage everybody, try it. You have nothing to lose, try it. Once I became a healer, I find my purpose. And this dream in my heart when I was a little girl to help others the way I saw my parents helping those who were in pain and suffering. Suddenly I had hope again that, hey, I can do this too. It wasn't too late. And even if, I had this career in finance, it wasn't too late. I could become a healer. And this gave me wings. Like I had so much energy to help everybody. I traveled a lot. I went to France many times, like 3 years around the country. Every month I was in France, but gave me wings in the sense my joy, my soul was happy. I never felt the fatigue again. I never felt like, oh, am I in the right place? Is this working? Never. The smile in people's faces when they felt better was my reward. And these techniques are to be shared with the world. They're beyond powerful.
Now of 15 years of being with Master Sha and sharing his wisdom and teachings, you have empowered so many people around the world to also be practitioners and transform their lives, follow their heart and soul, fulfill their potentials and those voices that are in their hearts to really unleash their unlimited potential and empower their lives through the power of Master Sha's Tao technologies. So we want to thank you so much for being with us today and sharing this journey.
Thank you.